and Joan, Ruben and Christina, and Frank, and of course Iona. We are at page 112, You Are the Truth. And that's the second subchapter from chapter 20th in the Law of the Heart. And there are a couple of things that I just want, a couple of sentences here and there from the first part, what I would like to reread to all of you. Knowing now that everything in the world is in itself neutral, and that it is the thinking mind that gives meaning to everything, you are aware that everything that your interpretations would demonstrate have no absolute meaning. The unity of your divine reality and your humanity is inseparable. There are no attributes or aspects of your origin that are not in you. Obviously, if what the separate mind does is separate, then its way of knowing reality will be to fragment things, giving each part its own meaning according to its desire. Now we start with the second subchapter, You Are the Truth. Life is not chaotic. Chaos is in the mind. The separated mind perceives itself as disordered and fragmented. Chaos is unreal since it does not belong to the dimension of infinite consciousness. It is simply an interpretation of yourself arising from dual consciousness, a mode of explanation that may seem accurate, but which does not make it true. You know because wisdom dwells in you, that you are as absolute as your divine mother, source of your being and of all being. Extrapolating the concept of physics to the reality of being and the external questions of humanity demonstrates a confusion of levels. When scientific postulates expresses the relativity of physical laws, they simply put into words for the dual mind what happens in the phenomenological world, however you say that word. The same thing happens when you speak of moral or cultural relativity. Obviously, everything in the sphere of duality is relative. But to go there and apply that postulate to the divine is a meaningless extrapolation. As has been said on other occasions, creative source cannot be known with the interpretive mind, nor can it be reached through mental effort. Indeed, divine reality is not something you need to understand. It is what you truly are. It is the source of your being, its habitat, and your being itself. As such, you can only experience it in consciousness, since it's pure consciousness. The absolute cannot be reached by the relative any more than a star can be reached by strengthening out one's arm. And Iona, if you really like to reread that to us, starting from the beginning.
You are the truth. You are the truth. Life is not chaotic. Chaos is in the mind. The separated mind perceives itself as disordered and fragmented. Chaos is unreal, since it does not belong to the dimension of infinite consciousness. It is simply an interpretation of yourself arising from dual consciousness, a mode of explanation that may seem accurate, but which does not make it true. You know, because wisdom dwells in you, that you are as absolute as your divine mother, source of your being and of all being. Extrapolating the concepts of physics to the reality of being and the existential questions of humanity demonstrates a confusion of levels. When scientific postulates expressed the relativity of physical laws, they simply put into words for the dual mind what happens in the phenomenological world. The same thing happens when you speak of moral or cultural relativity. Obviously, everything in the sphere of duality is relative. But to go from there and apply that postulate to the divine is a meaningless extrapolation. As has been said on other occasions, creative source cannot be known with the interpretive mind, nor can it be reached through mental effort. Indeed, divine reality is not something you need to understand. It is what you truly are. It is the source of your being, its habitat, and your being itself. As such, you can only experience it in consciousness, since it is pure consciousness. The absolute cannot be reached by the relative any more than a star can be reached by stretching out one's arm.
Thank you. And then, Frank, would you like to continue reading from there? Oh, Iona has a thought.
I was just, I had a thought that I was going to raise my hand for. The thought that I had when I was reading this is that's why science can never explain a miracle. They cannot extrapolate. They've tried to, and there is the quantum realm now, which has become more and more in the realm of consciousness. But you can see, and this is a beautiful description of why you there's you cannot there's the confusion of levels exists, and when you try to apply one level to another level, it's not true. It's in a world of illusion. It's in a world of duality. So thank you.
Chris.
Thank you. Play of the fingers there. You got to watch what you're pressing. I appreciate the words. Chaos is in the mind. The separated mind perceives itself as disordered and fragmented. So if I'm sitting here and I look in my mind, which I could do at any time, and it feels chaotic, that's a sign that I'm A, not in the present moment, B, not observing and forgiving, giving it over for a more loving space, being the loving space itself. So it really reflects my internal state. But if I didn't have that awareness, I could easily see the chaos out there or believe it's out there. Interesting. Um, Another thing that I really appreciate, it says source cannot be known with the interpretive mind. So that's important to me to watch the perceptions that come up and interpretations because they could be way off. Um, I had to mm, I had to address that recently um, in a with a friend. And of course, I'm not saying that friend's name, so it's still anonymous. And in the sacred trust of my heart, confidentiality, I had to say to this friend, I believe only God truly knows another person's inner motivation. Um, so that's important because my motive could be loving, but someone could interpret it in a non loving way. But I have no control over how someone interprets what I say, even though it could be as kind and loving as I could possibly download it and say it. Um, Lastly, a star could be reached by stretching out one's arm. As a child, I used to stretch my arms out to grab a star. Now I know that was can't be done. I'm complete.
I think it's so interesting, like this idea that you see, we often think that chaos out there, yes, but chaos is really in here. Yes, you can see no matter what is happening, it's here, and even the interpretations. Every time anybody speaks, we always have the interpretations. Oh, he's coming from here, or oh, You can see it. It's constant commenting. Yes, and we start to understand that that's not who we are. Yes, that's a part of the mind that is just programmed to be like that. Christina.
Yeah, I too thank you for that. Just the reading is so appropriate for me right now in chaos and allowing me to be an observer of the chaos and taking the time to go back inside and be who I am as a spirit being. And there's my peace. It's like when I can get into that and quiet that mind, things are coming up, and it's not for me to control, it's just to observe. And the glory of being surpasses all the anxieties and the craziness. That would be the duality of life. And it's a reminder when I'm sensing that I need to take a time out and just be with myself as a spirit. And it just seems to disappear. It's all calm, it's all perfect, it's all as it's meant to be. And just remembering and not getting pulled into, or like Chris said, when you recognize that you're just making those thoughts, they're not real. We're creating them and they're not coming from source. And so reconnecting with source is where the peace is found for me. Anyway, thank you.
Yes, very much so. Thank you, Christina. Frank?
Oh, I love that phrase, glory of being. Boy, that can just be a couple of words, or it can be a longed for and desired experience. I find it because of temperatures that I'm leaving before I read to go for my walk. And it's a very different walk nowadays than it was. It's these last probably 3 weeks. It's just a different me walking. And then coming home and sitting out in the back with my course of love and just this kind of communing back and forth with what I read and hearing it truly as Jesus' words and embodying it to the point where they're also mine at the same time. And this opening of the eyes and just seeing the being flowing around me that's always there. It amazes me how every story, image, and every ache and pain that I could imagine disappears in that being. I guess I wished I could sustain it better than I do. And there's days that I do, way more frequently and longer than I used to. But that's part of the in-between stage that the Course in Love is talking about right now. And it's, as is everything else, it's necessary for us to take the next step. Thank you.
Yes, that trying not to judge that state we are in is one of the first things, yes. Let's say things flow and things do change and we fluctuate unless we not judge it and just see, well, that's a moment of forgetfulness. Yes. So, Christina, would you like to read on a little bit? Just as, oh, you don't have a book. Well, then we go to Ruben. I know he has a book.
Yes, I have. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Hub. Just as extrapolating the interpretive mind's ideas of relativity towards divinity is a confusional levels. So it is opposite. You seek to apply the absolute condition of reality or divinity to the dual world. You create confusion. You were told to give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. That was an invitation to avoid confusion of levels. What is Caesar's in this context means what is of the dual world. what is of God, refers to the consciousness of love or one mind. Observe this matter carefully, and you will understand it to be the basis for which it has been said that judgment is meaningless. When judging something, you are usually applying Caesar's laws to what is God's, or vice versa. You forget that both dimensions of existence need not be identical, even if they are united by the invisible thread of love. Interpreting moral laws from the perspective of the absolute, which the separate mind neither knows nor understands, is simply meaningless. If you try to impart a moral or behavioral norm in an inflexible way, contending that since the truth is absolute, so must be the matter of good and evil, you are basing it on your own interpretation, not on the source of true knowledge. That source will tell you that your function is not to create new commandments, but to extend love at all times, places, and circumstances. This is why you came into the world, and for nothing else. Embodiments of love need no book or guiding rules. They never hurt or intimidate anyone because they are at peace. Their high virtue does not come from asceticism, effort, or the development of their personality, but is the natural effect of their permanent conscious union with their true being and its expression as the boundless spaciousness of pure love. They never judge, they only heal.
Yes, thank you, Ruben. Let's hear
Thank
this one more time. Frank, can you reread that to us?
Just as extrapolating. Just as extrapolating the interpretive mind's ideas of relativity towards divinity is a confusion of levels, so is its opposite. If you seek to apply the absolute condition or reality of divinity to the dual world, you create confusion. You were told to give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. That was an invitation to avoid confusion of levels. What is Caesar's in this context means what is of the dual world. Excuse me, let me reread that. What is Caesar's in this context means what is of the dual world. What is of God refers to the consciousness of love, or one mind. Observe this matter carefully, and you will understand it to be the basis for which it has been said that judgment is meaningless. When judging something, you are usually applying Caesar's laws to what is God's, or vice versa. You forget that both dimensions of existence need not be identical, even if they are united by the invisible thread of love. Interpreting moral laws from the perspective of the absolute, which the separated mind neither knows nor understands, is simply meaningless. If you try to impart a moral or behavioral norm in an inflexible way, contending that since the truth is absolute, so must the matter of good and evil. You are basing it on your own interpretation, not on the source of true knowledge. That source would tell you that your function is not to create new commandments, but to extend love at all times, places, and circumstances. This is why you came into the world, and for nothing else. Embodiments of love need no book of guiding rules. They never hurt or intimidate anyone because they are at peace. Their high virtue does not come from asceticism, effort, or the development of their personality, but is the natural effect of their permanent conscious union with their true being, and its expression as the boundless spaciousness of pure love. They never judge, they only heal. I just make one quick comment as I read this.
Okay, quick.
That little space where miracles happen, because I can get drawn into misperception as easily as anybody else, but that little space of time, and I just have to keep reminding myself that's an outward, give me a second, but it's an inward moment of absorbing that and going beyond my perception and reaction. That's where the miracle is. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this idea, render under Caesar what is Caesar's and under God what is God. Yes, because often that's where the judgment comes in, yes? You just have to see what is judging and not identify with it. Yes, you see that? Oh yeah, of course. Render under Caesar what Caesar. That is its function, yes? That is how the minds operate. Like we often judge, oh, I should not do this, I should not be like this. That is just what the separate mind does. Yes, quick to judge, quick to make certain decisions, and then we judge ourselves afterwards. But just to see, oh, it was just this aspect, but it's just doing its thing. Yes, as Hawkins says, yes, give your ego a little beautiful name. Yes, and then hold it close to your heart. Of course, it's hungry. Of course, you're gonna give it something. Iona.
Yeah, I was going back to those words to give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God which is God's. And I just realized that's where so much of the exhaustion sometimes happens in the world, because in this, when we operate in this dual third dimensional world where, like, I know that next week there's certain things I need to do that involve credit card companies and this thing and that thing, and a judgment comes up like, why does this, we're all one, why does it have to be like this? And then and again, that's exhausting. But if I'm rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's, I just need to go through the steps, go through the motions, play the game, do what needs to be done. And my only function in those steps is to extend love. That's all. I just need to play the game, fill in the boxes, write the whatever, the letter, etc. But instead of resisting it because I'm like, this isn't how the world should be. We should be in a 5D world and we should blah, blah, blah. That's so exhausting. So forget about it and just do it with love, because, hey, why not? That's much more in the flow. And so that was just a good reminder. I can render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but I can do it with an extra dose of love instead of resistance and judgment. Thank you.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Chris.
I appreciate immensely what Iona is saying. It's really in alignment with, in the manual for teachers, the relinquishment of judgment. Wisdom is not judgment, but the relinquishment of judgment. And it talks about how it's impossible for us to judge rightly. So, and that's what's the most noise-making, chaotic internal mind is the mind that's judging. That inner critic that criticizes everything, which I had to look at within myself, which come to find out, I believed I really had to be hard on myself to learn something. Is that true? I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Frank?
I can't remember the way you phrased it, Hub, but it was that acknowledgement that that part of us needs our acceptance. When I had that internal reaction, you can only attack yourself. And when I stopped to take that magical moment for just allowing myself to have that feeling and staying with it long enough to go beyond it, and very often that's a sense of joining with Jesus and or Mary consciously and just settling into that feeling that I'm back here and oh man, when that can be a conscious part of our way we handle our reactions, the functioning in the world works a lot better.
Thank you. And Ruben and then Chris.
Page 114 on top. Say, source will tell you, Ruben. Ruben, source will tell you that your function is not to create new commandments, but to extend love at all time, places, and circumstances. This is why you came into the world, and for nothing else. So just let every moment, actually every moment is complete. And if you embrace this moment, or you let this moment embrace you, you become a bridge of the invisible world and in the visible world. This moment is you, Ruben. You are the bridge of the invisible and the visible. At the same time, you are the visible, the bridge, and the invisible. You are relationship. You are love. You are everything. Don't make it too hard on you, Ruben. Just accept. You don't have to do nothing else. Then let it be. I mean, yeah. Yes. Anyway, I'm complete. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Interesting, this idea just to let it be. And I was thinking that, of course, in this world, we often get identified with the clouds that are passing through, while knowing we are not the clouds. And of course, there's a part of control that we won't say, oh, I should have controlled that. I should not have said that. I should not have done that. I should not have reacted like that. Yes, but more and more we become aware that consciousness has its own influence. And it doesn't mean that the boat that has going on for a long time suddenly stops, yes? It still has all these things coming through, yes? And then after a while, of course, that happens less and less. But it doesn't mean that we are still get kind of triggered sometimes. You can't stop that. I mean, that's the whole idea, yes, that we do get triggered and go back to it again, like, oh, how are we now with that compared to 20 years ago? And we can see there's a big difference. but they often want to totally control this thing. It's just impossible, at least in my understanding at this point. Christina.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that those triggers do exist. And what I find for myself is that the the chaos or the craziness disappears when it's coming from love. Because in love, there are no problems. When we are in our expanded self and identifying as Christ divine feminine beings, we nothing none of that matters because all we're doing is opening ourselves to receiving love. And in receiving, we are also expanding that love outward. And that's where the peace lies for me, is in just being and trying to control the mind, the busy chaotic mind that wants to put things out there. And is it from our upbringing? I mean, that we are so, I know it's ego oriented, and embracing that ego enables it to stay quiet in a sense. It's, oh, there you are, you poor thing, you have all those judgments and ideas and self-sabotage, and it's not about that. None of that is real when we come from love. So it's a great place to be when we can get there.
I mean, I was thinking that, of course, uh, this idea of control is really coming from the world. I mean, from the moment we're young, we are asked to behave in a certain way and not say this and not say that. And then they say, well, you can make your world. And like, it's so in there, this idea that you can control everything, because that makes the idea of separation bigger, yes? Not realizing that there is a higher power. A lot of people just don't realize that things are according to God, and that we made a conscious decision to come here to express love, and being in a dual world and all these things that will be part of that. Like, we totally forgot about, oh, I signed up for this. Yeah, you signed up for this, but consciously you just don't remember that. Yes. Chris.
Thank you. Uh, I've been hearing a similar theme in the shares. You mentioned it, let it be, and Christina mentioned it, let it be. That's where I hear the whispers of wisdom when I let it be. I think a rock group said that one time. I feel like getting in song, but I won't. All right.
The famous let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. I mean, it's interesting, yes. So that song, well, it was probably from the 60s, 70s, yes, that became so powerful because the consciousness picked up on that, yes. People realize, wow, there's so much truth in that. And it felt so good. That's why everybody was singing it, yes. We had enough. I mean, in the 60s, everybody was trying to break out. It's funny. Okay, bearers of light. Chris, you are driving now, yes, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay. Um, Joan, would you like to read one or two paragraphs? No? Okay, no problem. Bearers of light. Universal Pact. Chapter 21. I have said that embodiments of love heal. They do so because that is why they came into the world in these prelude times, to bring forth the new heaven and the new earth. As long as there is a broken heart, a tear being shed, or a face showing a loss of hope, they will extend the healing power they carry within. They do not necessarily do so with any particular actions, although these may occur. They do so through their divine presence on earth. In order to advance this dialogue, my beloved, it is necessary to bring to awareness the memory of the pact of souls. All beings that inhabit earth do so by virtue of a spiritual agreement with infinite consciousness. Both the created being and source, being a unit, make an appearance in the dimension of time, manifesting the agreement made outside of time. Why do we bring to mind this matter of the pact of souls? I do so as the spirit of wisdom, because this divine agreement has been forgotten. There is usually no cognitive memory of its existence. The dual mind cancels it out, except for a fake memory, something like an intuition, but which fails to activate a vivid memory of the truth. In many cases, any memory is simply nullified. And Iona, if you can reread that one more time, chapter 21.
Bearers of light. 1. Universal pact. I have said that embodiments of love heal. They do so because that is why they came into the world in this prelude times, to bring forth the new heaven and the new earth. As long as there is a broken heart, a tear being shed, or a face showing a loss of hope, they will extend the healing power they carry within. They do not necessarily do so with any particular actions, although these may occur. They do so through their divine presence on earth. In order to advance this dialogue, my beloved, it is necessary to bring to awareness the memory of the pact of souls. All beings that inhabit earth do so by virtue of a spiritual agreement with infinite consciousness. Both the created being and source, being a unit, make an appearance in the dimension of time, manifesting the agreement made outside of time. Why do we bring to mind this matter of the pact of souls? I do so as the spirit of wisdom, because this divine agreement has been forgotten. There is usually no cognitive memory of its existence. The dual mind cancels it out, except for a vague memory, something like an intuition, but which fails to activate a vivid memory of the truth. In many cases, any memory is simply nullified. That explains a lot.
Yes, thank you. Well, bearers of light, let's close our eyes. And we ask the strength of body, mind, and spirit for the whole world. That we may open ourselves up to the light of truth, to the love of God, and to the kindness of the universe. We bring our light to this world, that is especially now in need of that kind of light, of that kind of love, of that kind of embrace. And so we open our hearts to send and be that light for this world. For the need of these souls. And so we help others that cannot help themselves. We extend our being, our love, our light. So that new generations can live on this new earth in more harmony and joy and peace. And we give thanks and are grateful for our roles and for the help we have received through all these lifetimes, and that we can do our part for this planet and this universe. All right. Thank you all for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see each other again
Bye
tomorrow
bye, everybody.
or somewhere in this week. All right. Ciao. Oh, Joe?
Yes, if I could just briefly mention this, Sebastian's new book, Ascension, is now available on Amazon. And reading today's selection about our pact with our source, our soul pact in coming to this world. Just reading it today, my heart started racing in that delightful way when it knows the truth. And so the book Ascension is, in a way, it's revealing our soul pact, our soul's purpose here, and it's just fleshing it out so we can truly live it here. So thank you.
Thank you for letting us know,
Thank
Joe.
you, John.
I think it's on its way. All right, friends. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you,
Ciao.
guys. Bye bye.